the Olympics is the greatest show on earth. And so that's why you, as a designer, raise your game and give it everything you've got.
The look of the Games is really how an Olympics presents itself in every single touch point, from the ticket to the medal ribbons worn around the athletes' necks, to the dressing of the stadia, to the dressing of London and the wider country. It unites the athletes around a common theme and a common look and feel. It's got to be epic. It's got to be something that's so recognisable and so distinctive around the globe that people know they're looking at Olympic Games.
We decided on day one what type of games we wanted, what was our vision, what does that look like, and the logo is obviously at the heart of that.
I remember the chairman of Wolf Olin said, we need to create a brand like never before. And I think we did. We actually needed to inspire a new generation, to inspire the youth of the world. So we had this idea of this big 2012 mark, which was 4 characters that were sort of jostling together, and the outline around it twisted a little bit so it didn't feel like it could sit still on a piece of paper. The design almost became like a chameleon that could adapt and evolve, but always be the same, but always different. So we knew it was an emblem that could attract a new generation, inspire the youth of the world to get out there, be active, get into sport. So the day came and Sebastian Coe launched the emblem.
The identity really did come to life, and the feedback that we were getting in the room was, wow, this is cool, this is really exciting.
By the next morning, it was on every front page.
Suddenly there was a lot of people making comments on the internet about how awful the logo was. And of course they've got no context, they haven't had the story, they don't see it in situ for the Games.
We had the press outside our house for 4 days. They were at my chairman's house, they were at my executive creative director's house. We were all being doorstepped. We only designed a logo, but obviously we designed something much more than that. We designed something that actually showed people were quite passionate about it. You spent 6 months working really very hard, and it was a bitter pill to swallow. But at the same time, you thought, we'd done what we thought was best. Well, let them have a point of view. Time will tell whether this was the right thing for London.
Pretty much everyone else who was involved in some form of design or how it was going to look could all take a little bit of this identity and embed that brand into the fabric of the Olympic Park.
When we received the logo, we realised there were various components of it that actually might be useful to us. And one of the things we found was that there was this amazing burst of energy, this series of grid lines that exploded out of the mark. This was the formation of our core idea, a dynamic, energetic look and feel for the Games. So every touch point comes out of extrapolating that grid system. One of the things that we also received in developing the look of the Games was the pictograms.
These athletes are just the pinnacle of physical endeavour. So we should be creating iconography that feels like it's moving. It should feel as dynamic as the athletes are. So part of the identity was a very, very cool typeface that was drawn specifically for these Games. And so what we did is chopped it up. We collect all those shards up, and then you get a sportsman who's doing the kind of quintessential pose of that sport, whether it's LeBron doing the basketball or Beckham doing the football, and overlay those shards onto that figure, which then makes your pictogram. Everything was designed with very close consultation with each of those expert bodies. I remember having incredible conversations with the boxing guys about how the glove should work, and the cyclists, the angle of the helmet as they are kind of getting that final burst of energy. And then the Equestrian Society had a very, very particular point of view. So how you depict a horse has to be accurate, but also in the spirit of the animal and how you're going to be jumping with that thing. So you hand over all the assets, and then the advertising guys get involved, or the people that actually put it into the stadia get involved, and you don't have any control over that. You hand it over. There was a good year and a bit between the finish and then kind of seeing the stuff. And you just can't describe the feeling of seeing something that is your baby, your work, that you've created so carefully on the side of a stadium.